You are watching Influence Media, PSI TV, the Netflix of biz brands.
Does knowledge equal power? Not always. Let's take a look. Today, we're going to look at reputation and popularity, the ultimate expertise influence bundle. Hi, Trudy Bman here of PSI TV, Profitable Social Influence TV. Some of you may know I'm also a doctoral candidate at Liberty University pursuing my research in influential reach. So today, we're going to look at what the Bible says, what research says, and always, we're bringing to you strategies to increase discovery of you and your offer. This is a weekly show we do. Thank you for joining us live or later. So if you're an expert, but a best kept secret, how does that help you or anyone else that would benefit from your expertise? If your expertise is a best kept secret, this is one area where knowledge does not equal power, because the fact that you have this information, it's like this buried treasure that nobody knows exists and nobody can benefit from. So expertise and knowledge will not equal power in this particular case. Some of you may know this man, Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil, it says here, uses the power of television to tell compelling stories about real people. Okay, so he is using television. Now, is he the best psychologist out there? Probably not. Some of you watching right now may be better at the game of psychology and counseling than Dr. Phil is, but everybody knows Dr. Phil because he has risen in reputation and popularity simply because he has put himself out there not only on television, but other media opportunities. Are you doing that for you and your offer? Or are you keeping that expertise, that solution, that amazing gift you have, tidy in a little tidy package, hidden away from the very people you are called to serve? Now, on the flip side, there are people who have lots of influence, but they really are not knowledgeable, or they are not good people. So influence without that good knowledge or that wisdom can also be costly. So here is an example. Tom Brady is a great football player, but he got caught up in a cryptocurrency scandal because he used his influence to promote this crypto exchange, and a lot of people lost a lot of money on it. Tom's expertise is in football. Now, he was probably nothing more than a paid celebrity for all we know. But the point is that because his face was there, a lot of people trusted him and followed what he said to do. So influence without that knowledge is also not a good idea. Some of you may know the story in the Bible of the blind guides, and Jesus chastised the blind guides because they were leading people, but they were leading them into a pit. So influence without knowledge also not a good thing. So here is a Bible story in Judges 6. Not going to read all of it. It's about Gideon. Now, at this point in time, the children of Israel were under the power of the Midianites, and it was very brutal. They were suffering at this time. And so an angel appears to Gideon, and he says, "The Lord is with thee, thou mighty man of valor." Now, when the angel appeared to him, it says here that Gideon was hiding weak from the Midianites. Gideon was basically hiding. So here the angel comes and finds him, and he's like, "Who, me?" He says, and he said unto him, "Oh my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, and I'm the least in my father's house." A lot of you are saying, "I don't have any money. Nobody knows me. How am I supposed to help anybody?" Well, guess what? You have a call on your life. You might be the one to lead. Listen, you might not be able to save the world, but if you save one person, you might be saving their world. So you just never know. You have a call on your life. Every single one of us has a call on our life to do something. It may not always be to save the entire nation, as Gideon is called to do here, but you are called to do something. And like Gideon, many of us are hiding. We're saying we're poor, we don't have any money, and nobody knows who we are. But guess what? Here the story continues over in chapter 7. And by this time it says, the people that are with thee, because by this time now, Gideon has accepted the responsibility. He has risen up and he has a lot of people with him. It says, now therefore go to proclaim in the ears of the people. Go to proclaim in the ears of the people. There he's basically saying salvation is coming to Israel. He is going to proclaim in the ears of the people. Are you proclaiming in the ears of the people? But it goes on to say, and this is not the aspect of this story that I want to focus in, but I want to just drop it here for you. Whoever is fearful and afraid, let them return and depart. And those and there returned of the people 20 and 2,000, and there remained 10,000. Listen, if you know this story, Gideon goes on to win mighty battles with a small army. And the point I don't want to get sidetracked with that here, but a lot of times you want to call the right people, because you don't want everybody. Everybody is not the answer. And you can accomplish more with the right people. So sometimes you need to speak to the right audience, but I don't want to go off on that rabbit trail right now. Another day we'll talk about that. So let's look at what research says. So this is peer-reviewed research about media visibility. Now it's looking at political candidates. And the thing is that there's a lot of information about political candidates and media visibility because they need this media visibility. So, an unknown person who wants to run for a seat can get known. So this is peer-reviewed research. And here's what it says in this publication. Media attention during the long campaign can help to create a reputation, which spills over to the rest of the campaign and ultimately to the number of preferential votes obtained. In other words, top candidates who do not get enough coverage. These are top candidates, qualified people, well-qualified people, but they did not get enough coverage in the long campaign, may miss the boat and will not be considered by voters as the campaign leaders. So it does not matter that they're experts, that they are the ideal candidate. They have all the right credentials, the right attitude, the right heart for the job. If they are not getting the media exposure, they're not going to get the votes. They're not even going to be considered a candidate because the media attention helps to do what? Create a reputation. At this point, just because they've raised their hand and said, hey, I'm qualified, I'm interested, I really want to do this work, I'm going to do a good job. If nobody knows you, you won't get the votes. You won't get the sale. You won't get the contract. It goes on to say media attention at the beginning of the campaign serves to persuade voters to vote for certain candidates as information levels are low and opinions have not yet been crystallized. When we have a guest on PSI TV, my audience and the audience that we constantly seek to grow into, they don't know my guest. They don't know my guest. So the guest is being introduced to a cold audience, but because they've been introduced, they're no longer somebody that they've never heard of. At least they've heard of them. So this is the thing. At the beginning of the campaign, nobody knows them. Information levels are low and opinions, whether they like you or not, has not been crystallized. Nobody's going to buy from you if they don't know, like, and most of all, trust you. When their opinions are low or not yet formed, you do not have a chance. So here are some samples. So Dr. Kasona Cates was on my show. Here is page 1 of Microsoft Bing, and she's right there. This was a show we co-created together. Dr. Kasona Coates has an amazing literacy program for adults who still have trouble reading, and she has amazing results, but nobody knows that she has this. So she is on a campaign to get her program known, and one of her stops was PSI TV. Dr. Montasir El Faki, another person. He's currently a professor at the university here. He had written a book on NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Don't worry about that. But the point is, nobody knew. He wanted to make sales for his book, but nobody knew he existed. When he came to PSI TV, one of his stops, I said, Dr. Elfak, you don't even have a LinkedIn presence. You've got to create a LinkedIn presence, because this is where PSI TV gives our deliverables. This is where we share all the places that we share our guest content. So he did create the LinkedIn content profile, and here it is. A couple weeks later, when I Googled him, his LinkedIn profile is a #1 position, which he didn't have before. And then one of the posts we co-created comes up, because when we have a guest, we take that interview and we multi-purpose, repurpose it from many platforms. So Bonnie Lambert came to PSI TV for help. Now, this is something that we don't usually do. We don't usually get involved with politics, but it was a low-level political seat, school board. I honestly didn't even know school board was a political position, but she's right here in Tampa, Florida, where I am. I listened to her heart, and I knew she was the right person for the job. But she's going up against others who also want the position. So she knew she needed some media exposure. So PSI TV was one of her stops. She got over 2,000 views, 118 likes, and so forth. And then we have Dr. Campilia. He had written a book, and here it is. He came on his podcast tours, one of which he stopped at PSI TV, introducing him to a brand new audience, and he's getting that exposure. Again, another one, 8,900 views, 204 likes. None of these people knew my audience. My audience did not know them, but they're building the exposure because they have the expertise. And now they're trying to marry that expertise with influence, so that their name, what they do, how they serve, the solutions that they bring gets more exposure. We all have a call on our life. We all do. Some of us will embrace it, some of us will not. But the Bible says you're the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. You're set on a hill. You're set on a hill. You might be trying to hide like Gideon did, but we're not to hide. Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works. That reputation, that good work, they need to see it. They need to see it. But not so much so that you can get, oh, I'm all that, but that you will glorify your Father in heaven. So if you understand that knowledge and influence are better bundled together to really serve the audience that you've been called to serve, and to serve them in the most powerful way, to reach as many people as you can, to serve as many people as you can, this is the way to go. Trudy Bman here. I am super simple to find. And if you are looking to expand your influence and your reach, PSI TV may be the stop for you. I look forward to connecting